Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hussain Qazi here. Hello to all SBR students. I hope all of you are doing well. A very warm welcome to SBR Power Ups. Students, are you ready to transform your SBR exam preparation from a struggle zone towards a success story? If yes, do follow SBR Power Ups videos. Each video, each video is designed to boost your confidence and equip you with the skills you need to ace the exam. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. The very first, the very first guidance with with the scope of this video, it's about secure or save your 30 marks. Save your 30 marks. The content, the syllabus content, group accounts. So with this video, I will give you the guidance how to secure your 30 marks with respect to group accounts. The scope or agenda of this video, it's based on 4 components, 4 parts. Number 1, first of all, every student must have to aware that where and how examining team examine the group accounts with SBR. That's called scope of exam. Number 2, very important, how to manage the question, how to manage to attempt the question with the allocated time, that's called 50 minutes. So here the second guidance about how to play 50 minutes game. Number 3, I know that group accounts, it's very extensive material of SBR. So for the revision purpose, I will give you a guidance called group accounts in a nutshell. So this will give you actually the point number 3, group accounts in a nutshell, will give you the support for the revision of entire group accounts. I will give you the guidance and material as well. Number 4, obviously SBR group accounts practice questions is a real challenge, specifically with respect to 2 points. Number 1, for calculation with pre-populated spreadsheet. Number 2, the drafting guidance. Here I will give you the guidance, the smart exam practice material. So let's start. The number 1, scope of exam. So very important thing, every student must have to aware that where I will face the SBR group accounts questions. So number one, very important. SBR examining team categorically mentioned that question number 1, 30 marks. Question number 1, 30 marks, having major marks related to group accounts. It's not about 100%. It's major part related to group accounts. Let's say question number 1 of 30 marks. Out of 30 marks, approximately 25, 26 marks, it's about group accounts. Number 1. Number 2, the group accounts will not examine in a way to prepare any consolidated accounts. Instead, the consolidated accounts will be available with the spreadsheet. You need to adjust that consolidated accounts. So the consolidated accounts available, that's called pre-populated sheet. You need to adjust. There are two ways to adjust, either the correction of error or the missing figures. So some requirements it's about correction of errors, some requirement is about missing figures. Lastly, examiner will also examine or examining team also expect from the students the ability to explain the answers as well. So that is about the first question. If This first, if we wanted to simulate this first question, let's come on. This is what about a sample question, SBR International Practice Exam 1. The very first thing, this spreadsheet here, it's about consolidated statement of financial position. So that will be available. Either the question is about consolidated statement of financial position or consolidated statement of comprehensive income or the consolidated statement of cash flow. Number one, what examiner requires from you, like this. For example, part A, it's about explain and calculate the goodwill. We are not here to discuss the question. So that's why I'm not reading the complete requirement. B part, it's something about correction. Correct to treat Malin Company as an asset acquisition. C part, C part, it's something about IFRS 9. Derecognition criteria about the sale of bond. As I told you earlier, major marks is about group accounts, but some of the part of question it's other than group accounts. Other than in group accounts means other than group account accounting standard, maybe the conceptual framework, maybe the performance measurement, maybe the current development, but not the ethics, because ethics particularly examined with the section A, question number 2, 20 marks. So this is the way the examiner examine. Further, it's mentioned using pre-populated response option. Adjust the consolidated statement of financial position, considering above 3 requirements, incorporating above 3 requirements. So this is the question about adjust the consolidated statement of financial position. For example, here the adjustment required to adjust the goodwill. Let's say, so first you need to calculate the working of the goodwill and then make adjustment accordingly. Maybe having some errors, so you need to identify the errors and adjust that error accordingly. And obviously, some part of the calculation in the form of correction of errors or identification of the missing factors and incorporate with the pre-populated accounts. Some part it's about the explanation. So this is what about the first scope. The second scope, examiner can also examine the group accounts content with other area of the question paper, either with question number 2, either with question number 3 or question number 4. But the important point is that examiner will never examine the 100% question of the group accounts with question number 2, 3, 4. It's a part of the case. It's a part of the case. That's important. It's a part of the case. Number 2, average marks 6 to 10 marks. An examiner also expect here to draft your answer. In fact, drafting in terms of knowledge and application. Knowledge and application. That's a point. Like this. Group accounts examined with other questions. For example, March, June 22. The question name Renshu. Question number 2, 20 marks. Examiner examine ethics. IS 36 parts. Accounting issues related to IS 36, IS 38 and IFRS 3, that's consolidation. Margin 21, Sitka. Question number 3, 25 marks question. Examiner examine multiple accounting standards, including IS 27, IS 28. IS 27 is about consolidation. IS 28 is about associate and joint venture. Question LOA. Question number 4. Examiner examine IFRS 11, the joint control with IFRS 8. So examiner can examine the group accounts with other questions as well, integrate with other questions. So that is all about this slide that's called scope of exam. So you must have to aware that this is what about the scope of exam. Number 2, the very important 50 minutes game. Very important slide. Very important. Number 1, any of the students face the SBR exam, so must have to commit that at the end of the exam, you must be able to complete 100% paper. That's a commitment you required. So you must, so for this purpose, you must be very much strict with the time management. For question number 1, the question number 1, the allocated time, it's approximately 54 minutes. So rationale is that always plan for the worst. That's why squeeze some time that's 50 minutes, not the 54 minutes. So that's a 30 marks question. It's not minutes, 30 marks question. Multiply by 1.8 minutes for each mark. That means you have 50 minutes. You have 50 minutes. But the point is that, a very important point, don't over invest your time in question number 1. Do you know that the major reason the student it's not able to complete the question, it's not able to complete the SBR exam, the major reason is this question number 1. I have already made the survey with my previous students. I made a survey. This survey I made immediate after the SBR exam. And I asked the question, how much time you invested for question number 1? It's less than 60 minutes or more than 60 minutes. It's less than 60 minutes or more than 60 minutes. So majority student says that it's more than 60 minutes. Majority student says that it's more than 60 minutes. So imagine that point. You have total 180 minutes, right? You have total 180 minutes. So if you invest more than 60 minutes for question number 1, so automatically the pressure will shift towards the remaining questions. And this pressure will continue. And at the end of the 3 hours, you will not be able to complete your question. Also, you will not be able to complete your SBR paper. So initially you committed that I have to complete 100 marks question. So you have to start your working with question number 1 in a manner to complete with the allocated time of 50 minutes. So till now, I have communicated you the priority you need to focus to complete this question number 1 within 50 minutes. So you have to feel, you have to bear in your mind, yes, I have to do that. I have to practice in a manner to complete the question within this 50 minutes. But the point is that, sir, okay, this is very important, but do suggest some strategy how to complete, how we will be able to handle this question within 15 minutes. Yes, here there are two guidance. Number one, exam simulate. What does that mean? You use the word practice, but I never use my students the term practice. Instead, I always use the term exam simulate. What does that mean? I strongly suggest before the exam, you have to simulate at least 10 questions with CBA format. 10 questions with CBA format. And my recommendation, the 10 questions are these questions. 10 plus 1. 10 questions of the past paper plus 1 ACC mock. So I will not count mock as practice, as simulation or the practice one, but you can count as 11. No worries about that. So these are the questions you need to simulate. Sir, what is the meaning of simulation? Simulation means, for example, if I suggest that you have to simulate the question trailer. So open the CB format like this. Open the CB format. First of all, exam simulation means you have to attempt the question in a manner that you are sitting in the examination hall. So if you assume that you are sitting in the examination hall, number one, you have to open the CB format. Number two, lock the timer of the 50 minutes. Number three, avoid all distraction. Switch off your mobile, shut down the doors, assuming you are sitting in the examination hall. And number four, put your best effort to complete the question within 50 minutes. Put your best effort, huh? It's not compulsory that you will be able at the by the end of 50 minutes you will be able to complete the complete question of 30 marks. Maybe, for example, if you start the question number one with the first exam simulation, at the end of 50 minutes, you just able to complete out of 30, 20 marks question. No worries about that. What you should do after the 50 minutes, if you feel if the question remains of 10 marks, first of all, take more time and complete the question. And then compare your answer with the model answer or any suggested answer as referred by the tutor or my suggested answer if I provide you later. Compare your answers and then rectify your answers, identify your mistake and all these things. Then move on for the second question, then third question, then fourth question. Believe me, after 3 to 4 questions, you will feel the difference in terms of improvement. And do remember, improvement will never happen in this manner. Improvement always, you will get improvement in this manner. Sometime up, sometime down, sometime up, sometime down, but overall the picture is improving trend. So don't be afraid and keep moving. Do your best with exam simulation. So if you really wanted that at the examination point, once you face the examination, you have to complete the question within complete this group accounts within complete the question number one group accounts with 50 minutes. You have to start this activity from now. Number two, whenever you are attempting any question, the approach to attempt the question in this manner. Number one, the first thing you have to bear, that is simultaneous approach. Simultaneous approach. What does that mean, simultaneous approach? Listen carefully. Simultaneous approach. Simultaneous approach means, for example, you have read this requirement. Listen carefully. The requirement A is about goodwill. Goodwill calculation, goodwill explanation, and goodwill calculation also incorporated with this pre-populated response option. Here is mentioned pre-populated response option with exhibit 4 and your previous answers adjust the consolidated SFP considering goodwill arising on acquisition of grape company. So that means goodwill calculation with this 30 marks, uh, having the effect of part A calculation, part A theory, but also effect to the part D calculation. So what should be the right approach? The right approach is that when you are attempting part A by reading the exhibit, by reading these exhibit, for example, this exhibit, what you should do, first you need to start the working of the goodwill. For example, here you are working for goodwill. You start goodwill working, for example, investment, fair value NCI, fair value net asset, and then goodwill. And for example, the goodwill value is, for example, 20. It's an imaginary figure. Investment plus fair value NCI less fair value of net assets. That's 20. So what you should do, the part A calculation, you have done it. Now, simultaneously, once you complete your working here, simultaneously go for the adjustment with the pre-populated sheet. Here you mention adjustment 1 and adjust the goodwill. For example, you have to refer this 20. So this is adjustment 1. That's work. You mentioned that goodwill adjustment 1 or working 1. So that means first you complete your part A calculation and simultaneously adjust the spreadsheet and then move towards the word processor. That's called drafting. Then move towards the drafting. Start goodwill. Goodwill is actually the difference between cost of investment plus the fair value NCI and compare with fair value of net asset, whatever the description part. So that is called simultaneous approach. Means the requirement you are working for part A and also simultaneously adjusting with the pre-populated. You will save your time. For example, one of the student A, do practice with this manner, do attempt the question with this manner. That is called simultaneous approach. The another student B, not practice not practicing the group accounts question with this smart technique and working first the part A goodwill calculation, first complete part A calculation theory, then part B, then part C, and then independently attempt the part D. So the second student will complete the question taking more time as compared to student 1, because student 1 or student A using the simultaneous smart approach. That's very important. So you don't you just actually you not only need the knowledge of the syllabus but also practice with exam smart techniques. So the approach you need to follow, that is simultaneous approach, number one. Number two, whenever you are attempting any part of the SBR questions, any part of the paper, do remember, target the marks. Target the marks. Always attempt the question in a manner that's about that examiner attach the marks. If you are making some extra working which don't which the examiner um, have not attached any marks, so you would just wasting your time. For example, there will be no marks for totaling the columns. What does that mean? For example, with this question, there are three adjustments. Adjustment 2, adjustment 3. So you have done adjustment 1, 2, 3. All the working you have mentioned below. Student 1, ignore totaling. Student B, not to ignore, but in fact, make a total column. Do remember that the student who ignored the total actually done the right job, because this total don't have any marks. Totaling of the consolidated statement financial position or the cash flows, or in fact the income statement totaling, having no marks. So if any of the student invest the time with making the rectified column or adjusted total column, just wasting the time. So don't waste the time by to reconciling or to recollect the total column. That's important. So if you obey my advices, number one, simulate the exam. Number two, you have to attempt the question with this approach, simultaneous approach, and ignore the columns. And so you will be able to complete your question within 50 minutes. Further guidance about the related to questions, how to attempt the question, that's 20% time you need to invest for planning, 80% for execution. I will give you more material, the practice material, where I have discussed the thing accordingly. So this is about the 50 minutes game. Number 3, group accounts in a nutshell. That you know that group accounts, it's very extensive. I know that. But you can quickly review. You can quickly review all group account contents if you follow this checklist. So actually 10 key points is about the checklist. You can use these 10 key points as a checklist. Number one, it's all about investment and equity. So I'm not reading this. You just read this content. It's about a checklist. You can use as a checklist. You just read it and you will be able to recall the things accordingly. That's the first point. So this is what about a checklist, huh? Furthermore, if you wanted to recall all of the group accounts material within 3 hours, so you must have to refer the description side of this video, of this YouTube video. You will be able to find a G Drive link. Just click the G Drive link. You will get a notes called Pocket Notes. A Pocket Notes. This is what about group accounts pocket notes. This is a complete group accounts notes. Any of the students who have completed the regular course of the SBR wanted to review the complete group accounts, including the drafting and the calculation content, just invest 2 to 3 hours to read this document. You will be able to review all things of the group accounts. Don't worry how you will get this pocket notes of group accounts. Just click the link available with the description side. So that is about group accounts in a nutshell. Further, the last point, smart exam material of the group accounts. Okay, the smart exam material. Students, these are the smart exam material. That first step, that's the pocket notes reading. The second and third step is a smart exam material. With the second step, watch this video, the question name painter. Invest 1.5 hours. The painter question is a basic question. It's about, I only discuss this question, how to handle the question with CBA with the pre-populated format. Third step, click this video. This video is a very short video where this video is about the guidance, how to access the material related to the SBR sample papers. SBR sample papers guidance with the pre-populated sheet and the drafting guidance. With this video, with this short video, you will be able to find the 12 hours videos, 2 to 3 questions, a very comprehensive question with the complete guidance about the pre-populated, how to handle the question with pre-populated, how to manage the time with the theory, with the examiner reports, all these things. So just click this video and watch it very carefully. Once you will watch this short video, you will be able to find complete material of this 12 hours. So students, the SBR exam practice material, the pocket notes, the practice videos. The practice videos include the practice of the pre-populated structure and the drafting techniques. So this is what about the first phase of the SBR Power Ups. Don't forget to subscribe this channel. Best of luck for your exam and wait for my another video. Thank you. Take care a lot. Assalamu alaikum.